Hello everybody and welcome to today's live stream. It's the 21st of December and this is Bitcoin Never Sleeps. We're going to take some live questions if we have any, and we're going to go over the general market, what's happening in Bitcoin, and maybe even why it's happening. Let's take a look at BitTricks. This is one place I like to start. This is my first time looking this morning at the coin markets. And I've noticed every time I fall asleep and wake up the next day, the coins are really different. So let's see what we could find. Happening here. And you'll have to excuse my computer. Internet's a little slow today. Or I think it's BitTricks that is actually running slow. Let's try refreshing this. Let's see if we can get to. Come on. Come on. All right. So, looks like our top trading markets today are Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Redcoin, Next, Verge, and Ethereum. Now, let's see what exactly is happening here. It looks like Redcoin is pulling back. It was as high as 350% yesterday, which was crazy overvaluation for this Redcoin. That's the one way you could always tell a pump is happening. When you start hitting that 120%, this is not good volume, or not common volume for Redcoin. Bitcoin Cash here, this has been a big thing the past couple days. Coinbase started trading Bitcoin Cash. Well, they trade it for a whole 2 minutes before they shut it down on claims that it was going too high, and they had reason to suspect that some of the people at Coinbase were doing some insider trading and trying to corner the Bitcoin Cash market. I personally don't believe that's true. Anyone that was monitoring Coinbase, this actually came out several days ago, the API keys for communicating with Coinbase, it started showing up for Bitcoin Cash. So it wasn't much of a secret that they were going to release that. Well, at least not for people that knew what they were looking for. And there was a big announcement, so that's what's going on with Bitcoin Cash. Now, let me tell you about Bitcoin Cash. I do not think that this whole bump was from the Coinbase incident. Bitcoin Cash always goes up whenever Bitcoin goes down. We're going to see an even bigger pop than this. I'm still holding my Bitcoin Cash. I have not sold. Let's see. Verge. Right here. Woo! This thing's about 1,000% up from a week ago. I was buying these at 70, 80. I sold at 400 because I've seen it go up and down a few times. And there's just so much Verge out there that it would take, I don't know, an act of nature to really push it up. Digibyte. Let me talk about Digibyte for a second. One thing about these coins is they like to do what they've done in the past. This isn't in any investment or financial advice. This is just a crazy person talking to himself, okay? But this is how I analyze the coins and how I make my choices. So this is like a learning tool for anyone that doesn't know. So let's take a look a little longer of a chart for Digibyte here. I do have my live chat up. If anyone's watching that has questions, you can send a question and I will respond. Looks like only a couple people on now, but I am here. So looking at this chart, it's a one-day chart. It would look like Digibyte is, rising. Maybe even a little too much of a rise. I like this steady climb. I think it's going to continue. Where you really see something special in Digibyte is the 1 week chart. All of a sudden everything changes. Look at that. Whoa. This is telling us that this coin is low compared to what it has gotten in the past. This is a 1 week chart, so each one of these poles represents a week worth of trading. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of a constant uprise back in June, beginning of May to June. So we may see that. You see how this one little pop, it looks like it's a huge increase. It barely compares to that one other little pop. So I would say Digibyte is a hold until probably right here is where you're going to hit the first major resistance. Well, you're going to hit some resistance here and here. Wherever there's a peak, you follow these bubbles back. This right here, there's a little bit of a peak right there. But that's where it'll bounce off of. Then it'll rise a little more, and it'll stay there, then it'll rise a little more and stay there, and then it'll get a whole jump all the way to there. Just my theory. Digibyte. So these are the coins. Let's take a look at my BitSolid account. I started this 3 days ago. I've been doing some updated videos. I'm not so crazy about it because it's just a little confusing. They don't tell us. It's similar to I guess BitConnect, but they don't tell us whether you get this back at the end of the 45 days or if all you get back is the money that you get each day. So I don't know. And in order to get your money back plus profit, you need to keep that 3 something interest each day. And right now it is showing 2.8, which is almost a break-even interest rate if that's the way it works. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. Let's take a look. I always look at Coinwash. I know a lot of newbies are not mining Bitcoin, or they don't know how to mine Bitcoin. But if you do, I do videos on that too. Coinwash will tell you how the different mining powers are lining up, and it'll give you an idea of which way you should point your mining equipment. Now, right now I have it set up for script and SHA. You could come in here if you have these different things and you click. Let's just do SHA. SHA 256 for anyone that's new is the algorithm that's used mostly in Bitcoin, and well, a lot of other coins, but these are the newer ones here. But that was the main. This was the first one that Satoshi used when creating Bitcoin. And so if we click on that, it's right. I put in here 1000 GHz. It's 1000 gigahertz. That's how fast your equipment is mining. And this is 1000 watts. I got an old miner. Nowadays they can do that at like 20 watts. But you can see, even with my old mining equipment, if I scroll down, it's going to tell me that it's better for me to mine Unbreakable than it is to mine Bitcoin with that. In fact, I would be 481% more profitable if I mined Unbreakable or PureCoin or Mazacoin, right? Bitcoin Cash. This is what I've been mining the past several weeks is Bitcoin Cash. and I just sort of let it build up. And then I'll sell it when Bitcoin approaches maybe the half a Bitcoin for Bitcoin cash mark, which it will hit that, especially when we see the pullback. Let's take a look at the coin market cap. And like I said, if anyone has questions, I am following the chat. And a lot of these videos are, if you're watching this and it's not live, you're watching the archive, that's good. That's why we're watching you. Look at this. Bitcoin's down to 15.8. Ouch. It's going to keep dropping, guys. It's going to keep dropping. This Ripple, I do not get it. I don't get it. $1.10 for a Ripple. I don't get it. I remember when Ripple came out, okay? And I did not like Ripple. I still don't like Ripple. And the reason I don't, I'll explain it to you. It's very simple. It's this dot right here. Right here, it says how many coins are available, and then there's this little dot right here. And what that dot means is that this is not a mineable currency. You see that? Not mineable. What does that mean? Especially if you're new. Who cares? Why do you want to mine it? What that means is that the people that programmed Ripple, that made Ripple, they created these 38 billion coins and then just sort of separated them amongst themselves. And I remember doing the math and thinking that if Ripple ever hit a penny, that they would be instant millionaires just from the coins they separated to themselves. So there's a lot of money in Ripple, but you will never find my money in Ripple because it is not mineable. I really don't like coins that aren't mineable. It makes a difference. There's a better division of health. This is a site a lot of the people don't talk about on the live streams because they really ain't that deep. You know what I mean? They're making some trades and they're trying to turn Bitcoin into Kayani or some other crazy pyramid scheme when that's not at all what Bitcoin is. This is Bitcoin Talk here. This was the first website that I found related to Bitcoin that was actually seriously related. And over here is where you'll find stuff on project development, where you'll get technical help on, like I'm programming coins at the moment. I'm working on some new stuff, and a lot of things I do, I come here. And I have several accounts here. But right here in altcoin announcements, this is something I like to follow. You get tons of these new coins that are being given away. And they do these airdrops. And basically an airdrop is for somebody that it does not have any mining equipment and wants to take advantage of the new coins. So they'll allow you to get some coins either by sending some tweets or posting some stuff on Facebook or stuff of that nature. This may be a little too complex for the newbie type of person. So let's take a look at something a little less complex. I'm not sure what to show you. Hold on. What we can do. Let's just go through the normal routines. If you're new, right, and you're watching this, let's talk about the real basics, like how do I even get some Bitcoin, right? Well, there's a lot of different ways to get Bitcoin. Some of them are really obvious, and some of them are not so obvious, but they all work. Obviously, Coinbase is if you went on to the, I don't know, Yahoo or Google and searched buy a Bitcoin, it would come up with Coinbase, right? You notice it's not even coming as a something that I've typed before, because I do not use Coinbase, not since my falling out with them about 3 years ago. But let me tell you about Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase, they're going to want you to verify everything, and they're going to want to take like a week to make the trade. And if you buy Bitcoin at 15 grand, and by the time it's time for you to get your Bitcoin, it's worth 25 grand, guess what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you that your stuff didn't verify, and they're just going to reverse the order. And if you buy at 15 grand and your Bitcoin is only worth 6 grand, then guess what they're going to say? Everything went through smooth, sir. Here's your new Bitcoin. That's the experience I've had with them. So this is where I go. Local Bitcoins, where you're dealing with somebody local, where you could actually go and meet them face to face. And I'll drop some links in the bottom for all the websites that I visit. If you're watching this and it's archived, then that is what we shall be watching. But this is where I would recommend, especially for someone new, is come check out local Bitcoins. And there's some pretty cool stuff on here. I've done it in a couple of my other videos. You might want to take a look at that. So let's cut that. Let's go back to BitTricks. I spend a lot of time at BitTricks, and I'm searching for, I guess you would say, trading opportunities or clues. What's going to happen next, where I see the market going. This hemp coin here, anything THC or pot related, usually gets a bump at the beginning of the year. And then, of course, anytime Bitcoin is dropping, the people are usually buying these altcoins. Any of the altcoins will usually work. I usually go to the junkyard. What I call the junkyard is just the bottom of the bottom, the cheapest of the cheapest coins. Right now, Doge or Doggy Coin is the bottom. It was Red Coin for the longest time. I bought Red Coin at 12, and I think I sold at 28. So I made a bad call there. Ooh, you want to know one that's good? I don't know if anybody's watching this, but I'm going to give you a little gem here. Something that goes unnoticed because it's right off the bottom of this page, and a lot of other people try to look this way. But here it is, Gridcoin. Gridcoin stands out because if you remember, I was talking about the different mining algorithms, the SHA script, X11, Quark, right, Equihash, NeoScript. All of these are algorithms that your computer runs, and it plays a game, a probability game, and whoever wins it makes the block, basically. And these guys with Gridcoin realize that we're wasting tons of electricity on worthless calculations all around the world to mine these coins. So what Gridcoin did is they changed their mining algorithm. So if you're mining Gridcoin, you're not actually doing SHA-256 millions of times over and over again, or script hash, or stuff like that. You're actually working on SETI, which would be like the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. All this information that they get from the satellites, from the telescopes, radio telescopes, it has to be processed. And they don't have the power to do it. So anybody that mines this coin, you could choose on there whether you want to do SETI, or there's another one for, I think, sequencing the genomes of different species, and there's some other research ones on there, but your power is actually used towards something to benefit the world, right? And this volume here, 44 Bitcoins, that's low. I mean, it's like $1 million almost, but it's low compared to everything else. This Gridcoin will shoot through the roof, in my opinion. I have some of it. I'd recommend it. It's a sleeping giant there. It'll hit about 4,000 or 5,000. It's at 600 now. Could take a little while because kind of off the map. Verge is going to go way up. Well, no, I'm thinking of Digibyte. Verge, I don't know. It's hard to say. These coins. But as you can see, most of the junk coins are rising, right? You go to the last page where all these cheap coins are at, and it's just a huge increase across the board. And the reason you're seeing that is this Bitcoin drop. We're at 15.7. So whenever it pulls back, people want their money wherever it's rising, right? So if Bitcoin's pulling back and you dump into the altcoins, then you get to take advantage of this increase here. And then if Bitcoin starts going up, they sell these shamelessly to get back into Bitcoin so they could take that rise. So it's kind of like they're really good predictors of each other. If you know which way Bitcoin's going, you basically know which way the other coins are going. Now, let's see, a couple of newbie no-nos, okay? I was watching Bitcoin Trey yesterday, right? And he's talking about all these coins he wants to buy. And I don't know what, maybe he's just feeling his way through it, or guessing, or lucking. But he had this idea. He's like, I'm going to just go and buy everything. Blam, 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 blam. All the way down the list and just own it all, right? Don't do that, okay? Don't do it. And let me tell you why I've done it. I've done it in the past where I came and on Crispy, and I just dropped 3 or 4 Bitcoins and just spread it across the lot. And what's going to happen is you're going to get these ones that are up 166, but then you're also going to have ones that are down. And they're going to counterreact it. And unless you're seeing a huge increase in the actual market cap here, you're not going to really reap anything off of buying coins just straight off the bat like that. Now, I would advise spreading them out. A little bit of junk coin, you know what I mean? Like I'll take 0.01 and then I'll come here and I'll buy 0.001 of that, 0.001 of that, and I'll get like 10 of them. But I would not advise buying freaking 100 different coins. It's no good. And then there's no way to store them all. All these coins have different wallets, so you're kind of married to the exchange at that point. And you don't want to do that. Exchanges are dropping left and right. These things always get hacked. Don't leave your money on the damn exchange, okay? Ubit in South Korea was hacked by North Korea. Surprise, right? They just filed bankruptcy. This was like 2 days ago. There was another one, Ether Blocks or Ether something, that was mostly into initial coin offerings. Those guys got hacked yesterday. All that gone. I think, what was it, Nice Hash or something like that got took for 60 million. They're always going to take the coins, so don't leave your coins on the exchange. If you do, don't do it for a long period of time, because you will regret it. Just ask anyone who knows who Big Vern is, because he's got a lot of my money, let me tell you. A lot of my money. Damn Big Vern. I'm surprised, you know. If you do know who Big Vern is, I'm surprised that with Bitcoin this high, that dude's still alive. Seriously. Or that other dude, Mt. Gox, Mark Caples, I think his name is. They're all learning. Let me tell you why they're filing bankruptcy, okay? There's a pattern here, and it's been repeating, and all these guys know it, okay? So if you're going to be in crypto, you should at least be aware of the pattern. So this is the pattern. This is what happens. You get hacked. Your website, your server, whatever, who knows, who cares? They did not get all your coin, but they got some. So what the company does is locks up the coin that they do have and file bankruptcy. Now, by filing bankruptcy, it pulls them out of the crypto world and into the real world where fiat or cash is at. Now, as part of that bankruptcy, they're going to take a valuation of the Bitcoin or the altcoins to see how much debt they're liable for at that time. And that's what is going to be locked in at. Now, how does this play out? Anyone remember Mt. Gox, right? They claimed they were hacked 7,200 Bitcoins, something like that, and that they were insolvent, could not recover from it, from 7,000. Said all the coins were gone. All the coins were gone. For months, all the coins are gone, right? And what I know better, right? I'm looking at it. I remember when Mt. Gox was starting out, and we got this right over here from these Bitcoin Talk. I showed it to one of you guys before, but Bitcoin Talk has all these old meshes boards, and I actually found 200,000 Bitcoins that Mt. Gox was still sitting on that hadn't moved. And they still have those coins. And now Mt. Gox is going to get to pay back all of its people for the cash value of Bitcoin at the time. This was in 2013. This was, I think, $208 that they valued each coin at. And then he gets to keep the rest. So anyone that files bankruptcy, if they just sit out long enough and let Bitcoin rise, they get to pay off all the people they owed and keep the rest. So that's why I'm saying, in case you just got on this, do not leave your coins on these exchanges, not for long periods of time, because you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. They're going to get your coin eventually and leave, because it's just too greedy. They can't take it. Just spread it out, right? They're not all going to go under at once, so spread out the coins. A lot of these coins seem like they're beat up a little higher than they should. This Bitcoin Cash, like I was saying earlier in the thing, there was some inside trading rumors. You don't want to go that route. Let's see, I've been streaming about 29 minutes now, and none of you asked questions, right? Wow. Everybody must know everything about Bitcoin already. All this stuff. Let's see. What other sweet little gems? There's just so much going on with it. Like, I could sit here all day flipping through stuff. Now, you do got to admit this might be a little more entertaining if people were actually asking questions. And we're going to start doing coin giveaways. I'm not going to be giving away Bitcoin, but I might throw some Digibytes down, or some Redcoin, or some Ripple, or some ADA, some Carnito. That's a good one. It's a good hold. I don't like it because it's not mineable, but it's going to probably raise in value. That's always something. Let's take okay. The coin market cap. Lots of people come here and they start saying on their live feeds or videos, because I watch a few to see what other people are up to. And they're like solely focused on this top 10 here. Like, who's going to make it to the next top 10? Oh, the top 10, right? Top 10 means nothing. All right. If you're going to invest in a coin and you're investing in one of these, let me tell you something. There's not much higher that it can go. It might be more stable, but odds of IOTA going to from $5 to $25 overnight, not going to happen. Or Ripple going to $10. Problem with that is if Ripple goes to 10, then it's going to have a $426 billion market cap. It's going to outtake Bitcoin at $10, right? No good. That's not going to happen. So what I look for are these ones that are way down here. I prefer the next 100, okay? So these are coins that have not made it to the top 100. Or at one point they were. Like back when in 2013, 2014, a lot of the top coins, you don't even see them anymore. Right? It was like TerraCoin and NovaCoin that were right there next to Bitcoin. And this Pure coin. But not anymore. But I would buy something over here. Look at this. This Repo Credit Network. I don't know much about this, right? Because new coins come out every day. I mean, I've even released coins. And this, I don't know what it is. I haven't followed it. I don't like to, because you got to click on each one and really get into it. And sometimes they sound like a great idea. But what I do know about this is it gets volume. It's not in the billions of coins, right? So that's good. And it's about a quarter a piece here. This might be a buy for me, especially if I was to do this Pure coin, right? Only 24 million out. This I would buy. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I remember when that was like $30, and I don't see how it's that low. Hemp coin. I told you, anything THC or weed related, especially at the beginning of the year, usually does well. And let us take a look for some feather coins. I used to have a lot of feather coins. And as you can see, they never really followed the vibe. I miss feather coins. So this live feed was just sort of a overview, general questions, stuff I look at just on a regular daily basis. I'm not sure See, I want to continue doing these videos, and I'm not sure because there's not a very big demand of people watching. And I could either continue to do like newbie related stuff as to getting into Bitcoin, or we can go a little more technical and get into the building of a cryptocurrency, or the setting up of a mining pool, or a Santrum server, or a setting up a node on a virtual instance, so that way your coin could work. But I think that stuff's all a little too complicated, especially for this time, right? 2017, maybe around 2021, people will be more into that sort of stuff. But right now, everyone's asking, the basic questions all over again. Where's Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin? How do I get a Bitcoin? What do I do with my Bitcoin? Number one thing to do with your Bitcoin? Nothing, right? Sit on it. Do nothing. Wait. It will hit. Bitcoin might pull back to 5 grand, but one day it's going to hit 100,000, and one day it's going to hit 1 million, and probably even higher. And there is no stopping it. Okay? There's mathematically, it cannot be stopped. This is the one thing that Bitcoin has different from the rest of the cash, is it cannot. The only thing that really hurts Bitcoin's value, and it really doesn't, but it kind of does, is these special dividends, okay? These special coins that rip off. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, right? Bitcoin Lightning. These are all coins that are getting ripped from the blockchain. So if you owned Bitcoin, you get some of that for free, right? So someone might say, hey, well, Bitcoin's down to 15,000, right? It's dropping. What happened to 20,000? Well, no, Bitcoin's not down to 15,000. If you bought at the beginning of the year and you've just been holding, not only do you have that 15,000, but you've also got your Bitcoin Cash, which is another 3,000. That puts you up to 18. But not only do you have that, you also have Bitcoin Gold, which is another 300. Because you got these two just for owning that one. That's the way the fork works, okay? So really, Bitcoin's still holding about a $20,000 value. But these, I would not be surprised if one day we see Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash just equal each other, okay? This is a real possibility. Bitcoin Cash may, at some points, get above Bitcoin. You say, why? Why on earth would anyone want to buy Bitcoin Cash over Bitcoin? Well, some tweets I always put up. This is where I get them. From blockchair.com. There's a lot of websites if you're new. Like I said, I will try and post some of them down below. So right here, what we're looking at, holy cow. This is the Bitcoin mempool right down here. And it's showing 233,000 transactions waiting on the blockchain, waiting to be incorporated into the blockchain so they could be sent. Now let's look over here at the other side. Bitcoin Cash, 152. Okay, so all these transactions on Bitcoin Cash guaranteed to be included in the next block. All these transactions, I would say 99% of them guaranteed not to be included. You could only fit about 2,000 transactions into a block. And they're about 10 minutes apart. So we're looking at God, a day and a half, 2 days, right? That's assuming no new transactions were coming through. But look at this. You see, we're getting 7.3 transactions every second that are being added to this blockchain mempool. You can see this little wheel right here spinning, woo, like 1,000 miles an hour. And this one's over here slowly turning. This is the Bitcoin Cash. This is the Bitcoin. But this is why, the reason I'm talking about this is why I said maybe we'll see a Bitcoin Cash that costs more than a Bitcoin. And they have these nifty little charts here. Look at this. This is the transaction fees over the last 3 months. And why are they so high? Okay, this is why, because of this clog in the mempool. So people are attempting to get their transaction through by increasing their fee, right? And you may, if you're new, you're saying, well, how do I know? What on earth is the right fee? How do I know what to put? What if I wanted to go through now? Even with all those transactions there, I don't care. I still want it to go through. Not a problem, okay? Because my transactions go through on the first block every time. Because I'm not stingy with the fee. I've been paying a milli Bitcoin fee since 2012. I don't know. This apparently still more than enough for one transaction. Think. So what are we looking at here? What is this that you're showing us, Mark? This is a graphical representation of the transactions that are currently waiting in the memory pool. Right here we see this red line. Each one of these dots actually coincides with a transaction that's been waiting. And right here, this dotted line going up and down, this is going to represent one block, or 1,000 kilobytes, because Bitcoin is limited to a 1 megabyte block at the moment. That was just a stupid mistake by Satoshi that doesn't make... They'll fix that eventually, but that's definitely slowing us down. Anyway, this curve. As you can see, over here it kind of curves up. These are the transactions that are paying the most money to be confirmed, the highest fees. It looks like 1,500 Satoshis a byte, or 1,308 Satoshis a byte. And you notice they're in the front of the list, because this guy, they get to choose what blocks they mined. So this is showing us how many blocks we're waiting for, and it doesn't, you don't see a big drop here. Sometimes you'll come here and it'll go and it'll curve down like this, and it'll curve down again. And if you just wait a few blocks, you're good. Right here, we can calculate how much our fee should cost. Now, something to keep in mind, the price of the fee isn't necessarily, or it isn't related to how much Bitcoin you're sending. Instead, it's related to how many addresses you're using to send that Bitcoin, whether you're sending from one address to another, or whether you're sending from 10 addresses to one, or whether you're sending from 10 addresses to 80 addresses. That's a huge, it takes a lot of memory. See, if we're going from 10 addresses and we're going to have 80 outputs, they want a $400 transaction fee. Or if we're just going from one address and we're going to 2 outputs, it's always 2 outputs, because there's change. Well, you don't have to put 2 outputs. You can just do 1 output. But you want to do 2 because it gives you your change address. So you have Bitcoin in this address and you send some to this guy. Well, it sends it to that, and then it puts your change into a new address in your wallet with a new private key. This is important because of something that's called the newts, the random variable that's added to your private key and your public key and as part of the transaction. Long story short, you usually want to put your Bitcoin into a different change address, because if you're really good at math, you could actually find some vulnerabilities there. So this confirm with will tell us how long it's going to take to get our transaction through, depending on the fee that we put. If we said 2 blocks, we need it there now, right? Dude's waiting, needs his Bitcoin. Send it. No excuses. 26 bucks. But if we say, well, it doesn't have to be there today or even tomorrow. I'm just sort of sending it to cold storage anyway, right? 100 blocks, doesn't matter. Look, you can go a third of the price. Now, I would not recommend trying to go 1,000 blocks. If you notice, it doesn't seem like the price is any different. But I swear, there's still to this day, maybe not to this day. I remember CEX.io. I don't know if you remember them. They did ghash.io. Well, CEX.io is still there. But they sent me a transaction, and I swear to God, because of the low fee, it took 6 months before somebody actually included it in the block. But it did finally show. Okay, this is 45 minutes in. Bitcoin never sleeps. Apparently neither do I. Maybe I'll be live on later. Looking at my live feed, I have no chat. Very few people watching. If there's any questions, let me know. Other than that, keep trading, keep buying, but stop selling. Don't sell your coin, right? All right. I may be back on later today with some more news or updates, depending on what I uncover. If there's any questions, post them in the chat, place them on the thing. I might be giving some DigiByte away to somebody who sets a comment and puts a DigiByte address up there. So maybe you can get a little bit of coins today. Who knows?